everybody. Good evening. Welcome to class today again. So today we'll continue with our joins, and then I think we already explained what joins are from the previous class. I just want to show us a diagram that explains what we are talking about. Can you all see this diagram? Can we all see this diagram, please? Maybe one response.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Now, can you see this is inner join. This first diagram we're seeing here is inner join. We have our left table, we have our right table. But then our left table and our right table has some things in common. And every time we pull off inner join, the only thing we are going to get in our new table is going to be what our left table and our right table share in common. Every time we are putting left join, what we're going to have is what everything from our left table, but only what our right table has in common with our left table. And I'm going to illustrate that in class today. I think we already did. We did it with an Excel sheet in the previous class, even. So, and then in our right join, we get everything from the right table, including what our left table has in common with the right table. And then in our full join, what do we get? Everything from both tables. All right. So this is pretty much, this diagram pretty much just explains what happens every time we perform joins in MySQL. So if we understand this, I think we can get into class today. Workbench. Someone asked how we get to access our database before we can start working. I think that was Gloria. So Gloria, if you enter your see if I can do this for my system today. Oops. Nope, revert. Give me a second, please. I need to. Okay, so I believe you can see this better now. So if you open your workbench, most likely what you'd find is all of these instances like this. And in your own case, maybe you just have one instance, like local instance for MySQL 80. So whichever instance you have, you just have to select that instance to open your new script. So you do that, you're going to find that by this navigator here, this is your navigator, this part of your screen. So you can put it on and off, like we said when we started class. So under your navigator, you find two tabs here. First tab is administration. Second tab is schemas. So to see your databases, you have to go to your schemas, move from administration to schemas. Then you find all the databases that exist inside your um, instance, inside your work instance. So in this case, we have three databases: Sakila, SYS or SYS, and then we also have World. And the table that we've been using since we started this class has been World. So let's see what we can do about this. With this World, we can go with this by the arrow, just by the left side of World here, we can click on that to get the drop down for World. If we get that drop down, you see that we have tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. We are not going to be getting into the crux of all of those in this class. So, but our concern here is table. So we can do the drop down on table, and these are all the tables inside World database. Okay, now all these tables are related to themselves in one way. First off, we have country, and these are the countries of the world. Secondly, we have cities, and cities exist in country. Okay, and then next we have country language, and every country has a language that it speaks. So you can see that all these three tables are all related. In the same way, if you go to Sakila too, if you notice, you have tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. If you go through into table, what would you find? You find actor, you find film, you find country, you find city category, film category, text category, and all of these are talking about movies and cinema. Okay, So that's what we have there. So for you to access any of these database to retrieve data from either of them, what did we say you can use? We said number one, you can either double click on that database and get it selected, just like the way World is right now. You can notice you would notice that World is bold. If I go back to Sakila and double click on it, you can see that the bold database now is now Sakila, no longer World. So you can just double click on that to select a database. On the other hand, you can use the use code. Okay, for instance, we can say use Sakila. Sorry, let me just move this up. Use Sakila. Okay, so it means that we're selecting this Sakila. It will do the same thing as double clicking on Sakila. So if I run this piece of code, you'll notice that Sakila is now the selected database. If I change this from Sakila, if I change it to world, to say, for instance, use world, what we would have is world selected. So once you do that, pretty much you are ready to start writing your code to retrieve data from either of these tables. Okay, so I believe I've answered that question. Now we can get back to the issue of joins. Are we good? Can we make progress now?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. So now let's do joins. MySQL joins. This is every time you go to an interview, this is like the first thing they're going to ask. Do you know how to perform joins in MySQL? Do you know how to perform this? Like if they ask you for SQL, the first thing they want to know is if you know how to perform effective joins. So here we come with the joins thing. All right. So in this our database now, you'd notice that we have about 4 tables in my own case, but in your own case, you most likely would have just 3 tables. You would have country, language, country, and then city. Okay, so let's do something. Let's just do an overview of all our tables here. Select everything from country to view our country table. Let's also add another one. Select everything from city to see all the cities that we have. And then we can also have the third one here. Select everything from country, language. Okay, so let's run these 3 lines of code. So the first one we have here is country. And as usual, what do we have in country? Let me see if I can raise this up. What do we have in country? Code, name, continent, region, surface area, population, life expectancy, gross national product, local name of the country, and other stuff. If we go to city, what do we have under city? We have this idea of the city, and then we have the name of the city. But instead of having the name of the country that this city is in, we have the country code. Of course, if you go back to our country table, you'd notice that we have a column here that contains all the country codes. Okay, so here we have country code of the country that this city is in. It means that if you want to see information about this country called AFG here, you have to go back to your country table to go and look for which country code has AFG. Of course, that's Afghanistan. And then you can see other information about the country population and other on the country table. But the only way you can access that is by this country code because each city is located in a country. Okay. So next up we have ID, name, country code, and then we have the district of that city, and then we have the population of the city. Lastly, we have country language. And of course, the same thing again. Instead of having the country name, we just have the country code, and then we have the language that the country speaks. And then we have whether the language is official or not. And then in this is official or not, we have true, T to stand for true. If that's the official language, we have T to stand for true. And then if it's not, we have F to stand for false, to say that's not the official language that they speak there. Okay. And then we have the percentage of people that speak the language contained in this table also. So if, for instance, we're looking for all the countries that speak English, for instance, okay. So if we find English, let me see. Let's sort by language. Where's English? Is there a language called Bele? I'm seeing one language here. It's called Pele. So, say for instance, we're looking for the country that speaks Lango. Okay, so there's a language here called Lango. The country that speaks Lango is here. How do we know it? By this country code, and the country code here is UGA. Okay, so for us to know what country is UGA, we have to go back to our country table and look for UGA. Okay, so find the UGA, USA, UGA. Okay, so we have UGA here, and UGA is Uganda, okay, and they are in Africa, Eastern Africa to be precise, and this is their surface area. They got their independence in 1962, blah blah blah. So do you now see how it works? That here we found a language we're interested in called Lango, and then for us to get the information about the country, we have to go back to country table and look for that same UGA to get the full information about the country. So you now see that these three tables are all related to one another. Okay, so this is pretty much what we are saying when we are talking about relational database, because we have three tables now that are totally related to each other. Country is related to city because cities are inside country. Country is related to language because all countries speak a given language. And all of these have one thing. All of these tables that we are dealing with now have one thing in common. What did they have in common? They have code. So we have the country code here. If you go to city, what do they have in common? We have country code. When you go to country language, what do they have in common? They also have country code in common. So if we ever need to pull off any information from country and from city to create a new table with, then we'll be writing a joins code to bring out, for instance, let's say we want to bring out all the cities in, I don't know, just hold on. I'm working that out in my head. Okay. So let's say, for instance, we want to bring out all the countries, for instance, that speak English, all the countries of the world that speak English. That's a good example. Okay. So it means that we have to pick up all the all the languages in this place here. Of course, we have English here. Okay. Yes, English. I thought I just passed English. So we have all of these countries here that speak English. Of course, we need to pick up the country name, but country names are not attached to this one here. So country name will be inside country as a table. Okay. So that's where joins code come in. So if you understand that, then it means that we can go back to writing our codes for things like inner join. Can we make progress with code now? Progress. Am I in this class?
Yes, we can make progress. We are here.
Okay. Once in a while, it's good that you guys just respond, because if I'm not looking, if you are seeing my screen, it means that I'm not seeing you. Okay. So just try and say something. All right. So let's get to inner join. What do we have with inner join? We said inner join will bring us what we have in common from both tables. Okay. So the first table that we have is country. Second table we have country language. And what we are interested in doing is bringing up country, some information from country table and some other information from country language table. But for us to not mix it, we have to use this column that they have in common, which is country code and code. So see how we are going to do this. We're going to write our code like this. We're going to use select. I'm going to use multiple lines of code so that we understand what we're doing. So I'm going to say select name. Okay. So I'm going to say name of the table I'm selecting name from is going to be country. Okay. So in this case, we said name dot country. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's name dot country. I think it's country dot name. Okay. So name of the table first, country dot name. Now, the reason I'm specifying country, which is the table name before name, is because I'm going to be pulling things from two different columns, through two different tables. Okay. So if I just say select name, for instance, what if in our second table here called country language, we also have another column called name? MySQL is going to have ambiguity. It's going to be wondering, is this name supposed to be from country table or from country language table? Okay, so that's the reason why you have to specify table name. For instance, we have country dot name, comma. What other column are we pulling again from country? Let's say we are pulling in continent. So country dot name of column is continent, okay, comma, and then let's say we want to add that with country population, country dot population, and then we want to also add that to whether what language they speak. So we can say here, we can now say country language, which is another table now, okay, country language dot what, country dot language. Language is the name of a column inside country language, and then we can have country language dot, let's have whether it's official or not, is official. Okay, now can you now see how I've been able to pick out the columns that I'm interested in from our both tables? So from our country table, we are interested in name column, so we have country.name. We're interested in continent column, we have country.continent. We are interested in population column, so we have country.population. But from our country language table, we are interested in country language dot what's this, language, which is the name of the language that they speak. Next up, we have um, country language dot is official, which is whether the language is official or not. Now let's get to where it gets very tricky. Okay, so we're going to say from.
So I think your spelling of your language is wrong.
Thank you. That should be the spelling now, yeah. Okay, let's take it off from there. So now, since we have specified all the columns, this is like the usual thing we would do when we are writing our normal select code to just select a few columns. The only difference is that we are now specifying the name of the table we are interested in the column from. Okay, so now we are now going to go back and use our normal from. Okay, so we can say from country. Now country is the table now that we've selected. Now we're going to add this inner join. Okay, so inner join. What's the name of our second table? Country language. Does this make sense? So here we specify the table, the first table we're interested in, and then we're saying we want an inner join of country language. So now with this that we have now, there's only one thing left to do. The thing that is left to do is to specify which column they have in common, so that MySQL will know how to link up rows together. Okay, because it wouldn't make sense for MySQL to go and put country code of FLK here to maybe to go and link the value of that country code to maybe another country code that has VGB here. Okay, so what we're going to do is to specify the columns that we want to use to perform that join, which usually is our primary and foreign keys. Okay, so we're going to say on, so in our join country language, on country, okay, dot code equal to country language dot country code. How strange is this code? Hello, is anybody there?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, yes, sir.
Is this code strange to us?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's only the last line.
Yes, it is strange.
I thought you guys would just keep quiet now. Just keep quiet so that somebody will just say yes and then we'll just continue class. Okay, let's run this code first and see what we have. Now, do you notice that we have a new table? Okay, in this new table, we have the name of the country, continent of the country, population of the country. Then we now have the language that they speak. Okay, and then we now have whether the language is official or not. Now, in this first three column here is from our country table. This last two column here is from our country language table. Okay. Now let's come back to this code again and look at it. Does anyone have any question about this code, or what you're concerned with is this last line?
Yeah, how did you formulate it? Is my own question.
Well, I didn't form it. That's how I came and meet it when I was learning my SQL. I'm just kidding. Um, what I need you to understand, because this thing is like almost cast on stone. Okay, do you remember when we were talking about syntax? We said syntax is like a language. There's a way it's being spoken, and when you speak it that way, whoever you're speaking to understands. Okay, so the same way I cannot come and say, let me look for one very terrible use of grammar. Um, Say for instance, I say in English, I shall was unhappy. For instance, that's a very terrible use of language. I shall is supposed to be in future, and then I now say was happy is supposed to be in the past. Okay, so I shall was happy. That's a very terrible use of language. So is if I say that structurally, I'm not correct in English. Okay, so in the same way, when you're speaking SQL, just know SQL is a language. Okay, so understand the language, and that's breakthrough for you. So first thing we know is select, and then we select, we know that we need to specify the columns that we want to withdraw or that we are selecting from our tables. Okay, so the only different thing here is that if you are performing a join, you have to specify the table you want to select that column from. Okay, so these are all the columns we are interested in selecting. Of course, we have them with that table here. So we have country, 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 and then we have country language. Second thing we know that follows select is from. So here we are saying from country. Okay, so this is the first table we want to select from. But knowing fully well that that's not the only table we are selecting from, we need to specify the second table we are interested in, which is country language table. But how do we want to bring in that country language table? This is where inner join comes in. Okay, so we can say from country, inner join country language. All right, so this is the second table that we are selecting. But now the question would now be, let me take this to Excel now. Table A, we have name of the country, and then we have population. Table B, we have language the country speaks, and then we have is official or not. Under table A, let's put a few values here. We have Nigeria, we have New York, we have Uganda, as we had before, and then we have South Africa. South Africa. Under the population of this country, we have random values at random. Under language, we have English, we have Hausa, we have, what's the name of that Ugandan language again? Was it Lango we saw or something? And then South Africa, we have
Lango.
is that Lango? It is, eh?
Yes.
Okay, nice. All right, so under let's have one more language here. What language does South Africa speak, please?
This Swahili or something.
Ah, nice. Class rep on fire. So we have false, we have true, we have false, we have true. Now, let me ask you a question. Forget that you know anything. Like, forget that you are familiar with these languages and this country, okay? How do you know what country speaks English in this place? Say we will need to create a new table, and then in our new table, we have name, population, we have language. These are new table now, and then we have whether it's official or not. Okay, let's do this now. So we have Uganda, population is 5K as usual, and then language. Now, what language does Uganda speak? Is it Hausa? Of course, we know we already said it's Lango, that Ugandans speak Lango. But the question here is not so much as whether Ugandans speak Lango. The question here is, how do we know what language goes to which country? Because trust me, in this case, they look pretty much arranged because we have South Africa the last this year, and then we have South Africa here. What if it was otherwise? Okay, what if it was Swahili here, and then we now have English here? So now, how do you know how to merge it? And we're not talking about four rows like the way we just had there. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of rows or hundreds of rows at worst. So my question is, you can't create a linking relationship and expect to get it right, okay? Because if you, for instance, copy this and just put it by this side here, like this, of course, we will have a new table, and our new table is going to look like this. But our details will already be messed up. Our details will be messed up because Nigeria does not speak Swahili. New York does not speak Hausa. Uganda speaks Lango, of course. South Africa speak English, but that's not their official language. Maybe not. I think it's the official language actually. But my question, the point here is, you just notice that we cannot just pick the table exactly as it is like this and come and drop it like this and say, oh, we already have a new table that has both of them together. We have to ensure that bringing these two tables together, there has to be a way that our details are not messed up. Our details not being messed up means that Swahili is attached to its rightful country, Hausa is attached to its rightful country. There's nobody that speaks Hausa there. Nigerians speak Hausa, but that's not their official language. So Nigerian speaks English, and then of course, New York speaks English, and then Uganda speaks Lango. You need to ensure that this is exactly what you get at the end of your merge. So the only way we can ensure that that would happen is if we had something in common like this. Let's insert like country code. Okay, so in this country code now in Nigeria we can have NGA. In New York, we can have NY. In Uganda, we can have UGA. And then in South Africa, we can have SA. So here now, if we now have the same column here called country code, and then we now said NGA, sorry, where's Nigeria? English, we have, let's just put Hausa for Nigeria, NGA. I'm not being biased with tribe here, please. So if you're not Hausa, this is just an example, please. Then we have NY here, and then we have UGA here, and then we have SA here. Now, if you have this, it's easy for you to say, because Nigeria has NGA and Hausa also has NGA, it means that this value in Hausa can be brought to this place, and then we are not misplacing value. Why? Because they both have NGA in common. Does that make sense now? Does this illustration make sense?
No,
Yes,
so
sir.
you said
Yes, it
one,
does.
Nigeria has NGA. Which one also has NGA? You mentioned two
Hausa.
NGAs now.
On the language side, Hausa has NGA under country code. On the country
Okay.
side, we have Nigeria, and Nigeria also has NGA. So it means that since NGA is here and NGA is also here, it means that these corresponding values for NGA should correspond with these
Okay.
corresponding values for NGA here, giving us a new database where Nigeria is linked with Hausa. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this, what you just saw us do here with these common columns here, or with these columns that they have in common, is exactly the code that we wrote in this last place here. So we're saying we should join it, and then we should create an inner join with country language. And you, of course, you already know what inner join does. It means that it's going to bring common values from the left table and the right table. So if that's the case here, we are now saying that the country where how we want the values to be sorted is on country code and country language dot country code. Okay, because there's all those are the columns they have in common. In country table, there's the code column, and then in country language, there's the country code column, okay, that contains all the country code. So we are saying how this linking should work is that if you find NGA on country table in the code column, also look for where the value of country language, country or country code in the country language table is the same thing as that of country code. Pretty much, that's what we're saying. So if there's NGA on the country table, look for the corresponding value of NGA inside country code column in the country language table. This is what we've said here with this code, so that you don't mix up values. And without this code, I'm very sure we're going to get an error with this thing, or we'll get misplaced values. Does Zimbabwe speak Dutch? Zambia, do they speak Dutch? South Africa, does South Africa speak? I need response. Do they speak Dutch?
No.
Do you not see what's happening? The simple reason why you're seeing all of these things is because we didn't specify what column should have what value. So what MySQL did is pretty much the same thing that would have done to just move this table like this. To move it like this, let me just move it from country language. If we just moved it like this and created a new table that looks like this, do you not see that our details are messed up? Because we didn't try to sort the values. So exactly that's exactly what happened when we had this also. That you're not seeing that wrong languages are now mixed up with different countries. So this is pretty much the reason why we must have that code to say on. So country.code equal to country language.code. So please, there's somebody whose speaker has there's somebody's microphone that is a bit speaker that is echoing. Can you mute from your end, please? Okay, I think it's better now. Country code, country language dot country code. All right, so that's how we have this code here. So let's do that again. Let's create another example. So in our country code, we have name of the country, and then we have city. Okay, where city? All the cities of the world. Okay, so let's say for instance, what we are interested in is this city table. Okay, and what we want to do is to pull out all the city and their district and their population. But instead of having country code, we want to have the name of the country that these cities belong in. Does that make any sense? We need the city names of all the cities in the world, the districts those cities belong to, and the population of those cities. Let's just take name and population. So we need all the names of all the names of all the cities in the world and their population. But we don't want to have the country code. We want to have the name of the country that those cities belong in. Okay. So how do we perform a join that will give us that information? So first off, example 2. Inner join. How do we do that? First off, we say select. Okay. Mind you, I broke my code like this so that we can all see it. I could have written all of them in the same line, in one line. It will be very long, but it will still work. Okay. So let's get back to select. So we can say select. The first thing we're interested in from our city table is city name. Okay. What else are we interested in? City population. What else are we interested in? The name of the country those belong in. Country.name. Okay. So we can now say from city table in a join what our country table. Okay, now we can now specify our on. So in a join that on, what do we have? City dot country code equal to country dot code. Now, if we run this, pretty much we have a very simple code here that would work. Now you can see that we have a new table that gives the cities in the world, their population, and the country they belong in. Of course, by the time we're done with this, we can decide to say we want to do order by city. Can see that? So if we run that, it means that it's going to order with city. Oops. Sorry, order by name. I meant to say name. Let's put that city.name. Order that by city.name. Okay, so order by city name and run this again. Now you can see that we have all the city names from A to Z. We can order that in ascending order or descending order. So pretty much this is how inner join works. Now, since we're using inner join, we expect that if there's a city, for instance, if there's a country, for instance, whose code is not inside city table, or there's a city that is not located in a country, they will not be in this our table because our inner join always brings what the two tables have in common. And what they have in common will be calculated using this column they have in common. So if, for instance, there's NGA, which stands for Nigeria, in inside country table, but city table does not have NGA in its own column, it means that NGO will not be inside all of this. It means that Nigeria will not be contained in our table. That's what it simply means. So it's only what the country codes that they have in common, that's what will be brought into our new table. So pretty much this is what we have. Do we have questions before I jump to let's join?
Okay, Mr. Ono.
Presently.
That okay. Yeah, sorry. The inner join country on city. I understand the code, but can you just say it in English, like just to know how the arrangement can be? Because this one, if I'm to write it, I will just have to cram it. So I don't really understand. I understand it in the real sense, but how to
Hmm.
now arrange it? This on city dot country code equals country dot code, like I don't really know how to I don't know how to say it.
Let me see if I can explain that in English because I feel like I was already speaking English and this is written in English. Okay, let's say for instance, we have this save table. We need to create that join. We can say bring in city. This select now simply means bring in. Okay, so bring in the name of the city from city table, bring in the population of the cities from city table, then bring in the name of the country that these cities belong in from country table.
Okay.
Then, if you want to bring that in, first off, bring that in from city as a table, and then using inner join, also link it with country as a table. But while you are linking those two tables together, ensure that's on now. Ensure that the city code that you have, the country code that you have in city table is the same thing as the
Okay.
country code that you have in country table. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Okay. Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I want to ask a question. In a situation
Hit
where
me.
we want to pick all the columns, can it work with
Who is
select?
asking this question, please? Can you mention Ugoma? Okay. I didn't recognize your voice quickly. I'm
I
with
was
you.
saying, what if you want to just like the first one? If you want to pick something like city, I want to pick all the columns. With that asterisk work?
You want to say, for instance, select everything from
Yeah,
city.
yes. Then join.
Uh, okay, now that you're asking, I'm having to think about that because usually it's like a part. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Usually it's like a part of the table with another part of the table, and that's all the case scenarios I've ever worked with was like that. But
Okay.
what's the harm in trying? Let's see. Would that be city dot asterisk now? Well, guys, Goma is making me try something that I've never tried before. In case my laptop just blows and I'm not in the meeting again, just know that she owes me a new laptop. Okay, let's say something. I'm not sure it's going to work. Most likely, the best case scenario is that you would have to mention it's not working.
It's not working. Okay, sir.
Not yet. Hold on. I think it might work. Praise the Lord. Okay, it worked. This is the first time I'm doing this. Oh, I'm glad I tried it. So you can see that we have all the columns from city. So
Yes,
city
sir.
dot asterisk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
That was a good question. I like that kind of question. All right. Do we have any other question? Is it clear what we did here? Obviously, it is.
Can you please explain it again? This
What we
city.
just did now.
Yeah.
Okay, so initially what we did with our code was that we mentioned the names of the columns that we had from city. So we said city dot name, city dot population. Do you get those are the columns we're interested in? So her question is, what if we want to bring the entire city table? Do we have to mention all the column names one after the other? Or we can just use the asterisks. Remember our select code? Every time we're writing select, if we
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
bring in the whole table, we need to use
Yeah.
asterisks. So she was asking, or can we just use asterisks, or we have to specify all the column names from city table one after the other? So what we did was, we said, let's try it out. I wasn't sure it was going to work, but it was good. I tried. So here we have city dot. Now we're supposed to write the name of the city, but instead of writing, sorry, write the name of the column we're interested in city. But instead of doing that, we just write city dot asterisk, which should stand for city dot everything or all the columns. Okay. So that's what we
Okay.
did here. And then we now have comma before we now have country dot name. And pretty much that proved to be very effective.
Okay. So, but what if we just write city asterisk and that's all? Will it still work?
So that's the kind of question that used to make me say that there's a way that there's a way that language is spoken that if you don't follow that order, okay, you will not
Okay.
get the result. So you cannot just say city asterisk when the syntax is that you need to have table name dot the name of the column, okay? So that's
Okay.
like an already established format that every time you're doing a join, it needs to be the name of the table dot the name of the column. So that dot has to be
Okay.
there, separating the table and the column. So you can't just neglect it. We didn't just put it there
Okay.
because we like it.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
All right.
Any other questions from this? Should I assume that we don't have any other questions? If we don't have a question, then I have a brief task for us. Okay, so my task for us is this. Okay, I need us to select all the cities in the world and the language they speak. Okay, so write a code that brings in all the cities in the world and the language they speak. So this is where I'm expecting you to give me a response from the comment section. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. Should I stop sharing? I should leave my code on the board for you. Yeah, I'll stop sharing. So somebody briefly help us. All the cities in the world and the language they speak. If you need me to maybe show you the table again, I can. Rhoda, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Where's
thank you.
Gloria? Gloria, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to see how to come about it.
Okay. Pamela, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. I take it that you're also looking for a way to solve this challenge. It's not even a
Yes.
challenge, it's a small code. Okay. Olive, are you there? Hey, hey, hey. Goma. Pepper them gang. Select city. Really? So because the city dot asterisk now, you will not allow us rest. I said name of the city. Correct your code, Joe.
Okay, so I don't understand. Okay, only the name of the city.
Yes, only the name of the city and the language they speak. Your new table is supposed to have two columns.
Okay.
Asterisk one. I can just imagine Ahmed and First Fish. I can just imagine them waiting for somebody to drop a response so that they can just edit it ASAP. First Fish. First Fish, are you there? Maybe that one has logged out now. I should be seeing more responses by now. Do you know that if you don't respond to me on time, when you are having to rewatch this video again, you're going to be using your data to wait for yourself to respond. Bolanle on fire, class red, doing the most.
I mistakenly sent that one, oh, Mr. Ona. I was trying
Don't worry,
to
I'm not
go
even about to
about it.
answer that one yet. Don't worry, I'm waiting for you to send the original one because I know that you're about to give the rest of us marking scheme.
Mr. Ona.
Uh, Viclair, who the Zuzu, almost see code. Class rep. Okay, this is no, this is not class rep. Adekunle, let me see what you have. City name, comma, country, language, from city in adjoining.
I'm here to complete
Adekunle,
the code.
if I shoot
I,
you, you had better complete
I,
the
I,
code by copying
I'm
another
here to
person's
complete it.
code.
Okay, sir. I'm here to complete
I
it.
know you are copying another person's code. Okay, let's
Sir,
see what we have here from Viclair. Select city. Why are we using city asterisk again? I just said all we are interested in. You use the asterisk when you are interested in the whole city table. So I said city name, the names of the city. That's all we're interested in, not the entire table. So declare, fix your code. You can be arrested for this. Oh. You need to be very precise with your codes. Because if, for instance, you are being asked to retrieve a certain amount of data, and then you're now writing code to retrieve any more than you are supposed to retrieve, or any less than that, or something. First off, at best, you'll be seen as incompetent. At worst, you'll be seen as trying to steal data from your company. Do you guys know that? So they're saying you need to do this, and the only data that you need to retrieve is supposed to be like just city name and um, the language they speak. And you are retrieving the whole city table and all of that. Sure, you want to go and sell the data, ni? So, guys, let's get our codes precisely. Because when you're at work now, there won't be space for all of this small negligence. Select city asterisk, fix your code, select city name, country dot country language from city in adjoining country. If I remember very well, Ugoma, if I remember very well, city name, we are not taking anything from country table. We're only taking from country language table, which is supposed to be the language the city speaks.
Oh, sorry, sir.
So fix your code. Which one on city dot code equal to city, does city have code? City has country code equal to country language dot country code. See, I've already
I'm
given you
not
guys the answer.
seeing the table.
You are
That's why it
not
was
done.
difficult.
You're not saying the table. Why didn't you ask? Glory, what am I saying here? Select city dot name, comma, country language dot what? Because name of the table is country language. You guys should ask me to show you table now.
Okay.
Bolanle Alpha, I'm only seeing select. You want to select me?
Eh,
Pamela, OG. And somebody is giving us marking scheme here. Interesting. Viclare, chemicals and allied products. Do you sell fertilizers? Because I'm about to put fertilizer for you now, Viclare. My own class rep, city dot name, city, comma, country language dot language from city in adjoining country on. Uh. Class rep, I have a small problem with your code.
I know the last
Yes,
row.
yes, because we didn't do anything with country table here. All the thing was city versus country language. So the closest code I have here so far with what we have, select city, asterisk, name, country language from inner. Mrs. Bolan, I'm not passing this your code at all. Maybe I should be maybe I should be running everybody's code so that we see what it will bring out. We just be seeing red. Then Ahmed, let me see what you have. City.name, country.language. If I say country here, we are not on the same page again. Okay, so the closest to what we ought to have is what Pamela has here. So I'm just going to pick Pamela's code. Pamela, permission to use your code now. I don't know if you have intellectual property rights on your code. Let me not come and use it now and get you to court. Okay. What did I just do? So the code closest to what we have is Pamela's code. So we have select city.name. So from our city table, give us the name of the city. So
Are
let's
you
pick
sharing your
city.
screen?
Oh yeah, in my mind I am. Nice. Okay. So select city.name. Then we have country language. Okay. So we have city, name of the city, and then sorry, in our city table, you can see that all the cities' names are inside name column. So we have city table dot name. The next thing we want is the language from inside country language table. So we have country language dot language column, which gives the language. Okay. So the first table we are using is from city as a table. Then we're in adjoining country language on. Then we have city dot country code, of course, because inside city table we have country code equal to country language dot country code. Pamela, what can I give you now? This is our result. Did we all see that? Class rep,
I'm watching.
what are we going to do for Pamela now?
Free class data.
data analysis class.
We should do what? Free data analysis
Free
class.
that, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very thank you very much for your honest contribution. Okay, so this code was actually on point. So I get it that maybe a lot of us didn't get it because maybe we are not using our system and the table, maybe the table is not open before us, so we didn't get the table names and all of that. But let me be very honest. Part of what this is showing at this point in time in this class is that a lot of us don't go through our class notes again. A lot of us wait for weekend to weekend. After we're done with class on weekends, we just wait maybe till the next weekend and all of that. And then in the next weekend, we take it up from there again. Obviously, you will remember some things we discussed in the previous class, but these things don't come without practice. Okay? None of these things come without practice. The best way you learn how to code anything in tech, the best way you learn it, in fact, maybe anything in life, the best way you learn it is by doing it. So if you don't take out time to be practicing on your own, you don't expect that because we explained it and it looks so simple in class. When you step into class, you may not misplace one or two things. Make out time. I challenge you today. Make out time, 15 minutes daily, 3 hours weekly on your own, outside any class, whatever, and try to practice whatever you're learning. You'll be fine. But we are doing well so far. Thank you, Pamela, for this. So if we understand this, it means that we can move on to left join. The reason why I've not been stressing myself so much with the other joins, I've just been hammering on inner join, is because nothing really changes. When it gets to left join, let me show you what we have. I'm taking the same code again from Pamela. When it gets to left join, the only thing that is different here is the left now. Okay, we change that inner to left, and then if we execute it, we'll get the same thing. Okay, if we wanted to do right join, the only thing that changes again is that same inner that changes. Call this right join. We paste this. What do we have here? Inner. Let's change this and change it to right. Okay. So this is the only thing that changes. So if you know the result you are expecting, then the syntax is the same. You just have to specify what kind of join you want to use. So that's the only thing that changes the entire syntax from what we've been discussing since morning.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
I discovered that we are getting the same result. So why changing the type of join that we are using? I
Okay.
changed from inner to left. I got the same result.
So my question is this: in this scenario, what hmm, let me bring my question to Excel. ID, staff name. Okay. So we have ID, time in. Remember our database yesterday? Time out. Do we remember this? Staff ID 001. His name is. I'm going to need somebody to interact with now. ASAP, ASAP. Who is there?
Yes,
Anybody?
yes.
Okay, give me a name.
Pastor Anna.
ID number 2. Give me a name.
Okay, Vincent.
Bolanle.
Thank you. Number 3. Give me a name.
First fish.
First fish.
Yes.
Give me a name. 4.
Pamela.
Pamela. Give me a name. 5.
Damilarin.
Last one. 6.
Abibat. The quiet Abibat.
Mhm. Habibat is in this class. Really? It's been a while. I heard that name in class. Okay, let's take it up. ID. Okay, so let's now talk about attendance. Now, these are the whole staff in this company, okay? And these are their names and stuff. So, let's talk about their attendance. So here we have 1, and then timing is 08 a.m., and then timeout is 05 p.m. Let's make that 17 o'clock. Another one again, attendance again, the same person, 1, we have 08 a.m. Say class rep is the only one coming for to work. And then we also have, let's say for instance, we have ID number 4, and then we have 08. No, Pamela comes to class really early. Let's give her 7:30. Okay, so we have 7. Then let's have one more, 3. No, this one more we're going to have is 9. Okay, so in this 9, what we're going to have is 08 a.m., 10.
The
Okay,
IDs
now
cannot be the same.
you said
The IDs cannot be the same. Two IDs.
two
Can it
IDs
be?
cannot be the same. It
Yes.
can be the same. In this place, it's a primary key, so we can't have a duplicate of it. But in this place, this is attendance table. So as much time as you come to work, it's going to still be recounting the same ID. Do you understand? So in this case, we have it as a foreign key. So it's fine to have duplicates. Does that illustration make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. If we have inner join on this table, inner join is supposed to bring in from ID. So it's joining with on ID. So this is staff, call this staff list, and then call this attendance. That's the name of the table here. So we can say on staff list dot ID equal to attendance dot ID. Okay, that's what we're using to join. What would our inner join return, given that this is ID, and then this is staff name, and then this is timing, and then this is timeout? Let's just take only one, timing. Okay, so if we're creating a new table using inner join for just timing and staff name, so we're picking one column from here or the 2 columns from here, and then we're picking only one column from here, which is timing. So if we're using inner join, what IDs are we going to get? Give me. Class rep, me and you now, because you're the one that asked the question. Let's go.
ID, we have 1.
1, and then this one is name. The name is
Is Abdebukola.
okay, Adebukola. Timing will be
8.
08 on the first
Yeah.
instance, right?
Yes.
Second one, second
2.
value, we're still going to have 1 again because we have 1
Okay.
1,
1.
and then we
Okay.
have
Yeah.
1
Yeah.
1 again. So we're going to
1.
have 1 again. So
1.
here we have Adebukola, and then we
No.
have 08. It's still the same person. Now 1 is still Adebukola now. Everywhere you see 1 here is going to be Adebukola.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Do you understand that? So we have Adebukola, and then we have timing also 08 a.m. What's the next thing we are going to have?
We have 4.
Why are we having 4?
We are using the foreign key.
Class rep, where you are is very noisy. Oh.
I'm not
Should
the
I get
one. It's Abibat.
okay? So let me just look for that
It's Abibat.
question.
Okay.
How do you ask to mute here again? Mute. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have number 4. Why are we having number 4? Why are we not having 2?
No, we are using the foreign key.
No matter, no
Uh,
matter.
I don't understand why you're using the foreign key. That doesn't explain why we are
My
having
ID.
number 4 instead of 2. Hello?
Somebody is helping me.
Because you are using
Ogoma,
inner
I'm
join.
listening. Because we are using inner join.
Inner
So
joint.
any number that exists here that does not exist here will not be contained in our new table because it's inner join is only going to bring up the ID that exists here and also exists here. And the ID that these two tables have in
Okay,
common
yeah.
is only 1 and 4.
1
Okay,
and 4. Yes.
so we can have Pamela here. So our inner join will return this result.
Just 7
7.
and 7.
Now, this is exactly what our inner join is going to return here if we're working on
Okay.
this. So on the situation, on the ground where we have, for instance, let's say we want to do now left join, what left join is going to do is left join is going to bring in everything from our left table like this, and then only what corresponds from our right table. So we have Adebukola here. Of course, we're supposed to have Adebukola, two Adebukola. Let's see, insert one more. Can you see what I'm doing? Please, who is that with the noisy background? Please mute your audio. So we have 08 a.m., 08 a.m. Because we have 2 here, but we don't have 2 existing here. What are we going to have here? Null.
None.
What do we have here? First fish, 3, null. Pamela, 0700. And then we're going to have null for number 5 because it does not exist here. And then we're also going to have null for number 6 because it doesn't exist here. So this is what left join is going to bring. But everything from left table was brought in. Okay. Now, do you now see that despite the fact that everything from left table was brought in, we still have the beginning still looks like the same thing as we had with inner join. If we say let's try
You
right
are right.
join, yeah, if we try right join now, what right join is going to do is to bring out everything again from right table. In other words, we're going to have 1, 1, 4, 9, 10. Of course, 1, 1 is already 8 a.m. Okay, so 4 is 07 a.m. and then 9, 08 a.m. and then 08 a.m. Okay, so let me bring this back to this. Who is this? Adebukola. 1 is Adebukola. Pamela. But this person now, because we have 9 here, but it doesn't exist here, what are we going to have? Name does not exist. Name does not exist. Are we together? That's exactly what this is
Yes,
going to bring.
yes.
So, but given the situation, let me give us now a very annoying situation. Given the situation where we only have 1 and 4, and in this place here, we have only 1 and 4. If you given this situation now, whether you use inner join or use left join or use right join or whatever kind of join you use, because 1 and 4 exist, it's still going to give you the same results. Are we together? So in this, like given this kind of scenario where all of our IDs exist in the other table, in other words, they have everything in common, everything will still be the same thing, whether inner, left, right, up, or down join. Sorry, there's no up and down join. Did I answer your question, class rep?
Yes, sir.
All right. So don't be
So
surprised if
what
you're
do
not.
we?
Yeah,
Okay,
who is that?
I'm sorry,
Who's
Mr.
asking?
Anna, it's me,
Yeah.
Zoda. Yeah.
Okay,
So
hi,
why do
Oda.
we now use? Why we now, since we are getting the same result? So why do we use inner left and right
We are not
The
getting
point,
the same result.
for the
the
sorry,
result,
for the left and
you.
right?
So in this case now, right, guys? In this case, these are results that we got here. It might be looking like they are all the same results, but you won't be able to pick out the difference because the database is large. Unlike when we're dealing with small database,
Okay.
okay, you won't be able
Okay.
to pick out. You might not be able to pick out the larger the database, the lesser the probability that you'll be able to pick out the database. So what you have to do is to know what your join is supposed to return to you and trust that you wrote the code and that that's the exact result you have. Because you can't start going through every line to see whether it's giving you the same thing or not.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I want to ask, please,
Yeah, I'm listening.
that Excel, when we did write join, why is it not bringing ID then timeout, since that's the first two column in the right table, then
So
bringing the staff name as the
are you
last?
expect are you expecting time in, time out, or what are you saying?
No, like
How do you
ID
you're saying
timing, then
why is it not bringing out ID,
the
time
timing,
in, time
then
out?
staff name. No, then staff name, since it's right join, you're supposed to join I was thinking you're supposed to join the
No, no,
first
no.
two
It doesn't follow. It
column.
doesn't follow that logical order. Like
So,
maybe picking the first two from here, then now bringing that in. The order that it follows is the same order that you specify the names of your table. So if, for instance, now you specified country language before city, it's going to bring country language as the first thing, then city as the second thing. Do you get? So in
okay.
whatever order you want your table to appear in, like you want the column to be arranged in, that's the same order you specify the names of your columns. Any other questions? You can ask me your questions because this is where we'll be stopping for tonight. We'll take it up from here tomorrow. Questions?
Okay, please, I want to ask. So, for instance, now you asked us to practice. You gave us this challenge. First is, how do I get things to practice about? Now that I'm not an expert now, to think about different situations might be a bit difficult. So, is there anything that can help me to know what exactly I'm channeling my energy to practice on? And then
Well,
secondly,
yeah,
okay. And
I'm
then
with you.
secondly, I want to ask that, okay, for instance, now I am given a job now to work on a database. How exactly am I going to know the best join that will fit for one or two situations for me to avoid making mistakes?
Question number one is that um, question number one scenario. I feel like a lot of us underrate artificial intelligence. By artificial intelligence, I mean AI. Okay, so if you go to, for instance, if you go to ChatGPT, for instance, and say to ChatGPT that maybe you write a prompt and say, um, maybe using the country database in MySQL, do you get spell out maybe possible scenarios that a data analyst would be required to perform joins on. For instance, do you understand? Using that same table. And I know that ChatGPT is going to give you like a lot of scenarios, like a lot of case scenarios that if you step out, you're going to see that. I can't bring out all the possibilities. I can't in this class, even not in this class, even I can't bring out all the possibilities there are in the world. So you have to look for challenges for yourself. You have to go online and look for SQL study materials, anything materials, video materials, PDF materials. Go to AI, generate and things for yourself, like challenges, test for yourself, and go out and go and try to solve it and all of that. But like I said, until you step into a company, you would never, you may not be able to know exactly what is holding a lot of us back is that we want to have work experience without working, then applying with the work experience, which doesn't work. I don't I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So
No.
what you're going to, you don't understand what you didn't get what I said. A lot of us we want to
without
You want
having
to
work experience.
work without having work experience. You want to go into a company
Without
and
having
know everything that might ever come up in the company during our work period in that place without the work experience before we can even start applying, which is not something that you would always have. What they require you to do is to have problem solving skills. Problem solving skills means that if I say do this and you're not sure how to do this, you can find the solution and get the job done. That's the most important skill in tech. Problem solving skill, communication skill, you're all already good. Those are some of the soft skills that you need. Myself, it's not every Python code or not every SQL code or maybe DAX code in this thing or R code or Excel formula. It's not everything that I know. Is that if I ever meet a situation that's challenging, just imagine now, even here in class, I'm not even somewhere else working yet. Even here in class now, Ugoma was already asking a question that I never thought possible. But we had to try it here and then we saw that it worked. So you would never be able to exhaust all the this in life is that when you meet a challenge you can't solve, you go out and go and look for a way to solve it. So there's no place, there's no the word is, should I say repository now, or there's no document anywhere containing all the kind of problems that you might meet when you step out into a job. If you ever meet a challenge, this is where networking comes in, and that's the reason why we are all on that group. You can send up a challenge from work and say, "Oh, I've been asked to do this. I'm not sure how to write the code. Who can help?" And then we know that that's the scenario you're dealing with. Okay, but for this time, for your practice, get as much materials as possible, interact with as much AI as possible, then try to engage your mind to create scenarios. Because see, the most taxing part about all of these classes we do is having to generate case scenarios. Like all of these things we're talking about, attendance, imagine that we have attendance, imagine everything I've been doing in this class since from the beginning of this month till now is imagine we have this, imagine we have this. This is me like engaging my mind, taxing my mind to create scenarios that you possibly might meet in future. Okay, so you can get to a place to where you are also doing that for yourself and asking yourself question: what if I'm asked this? What would I do? What if I'm asked that? What would I do? So that's that. Your second question is yeah, I think I talked too much. I've almost forgotten the second question now. What was the
Thank you
second
so
question
much.
again?
Yes, the second question is how to know when exactly to use which join to avoid mistakes.
And you can never you can never outgrow mistakes no matter where you get to in your career. So stop being concerned about avoiding mistakes. Just be concerned about growing every day and learning from every mistake or from every experience. That's the most important thing. So you can't don't wait until you're perfect before you start moving. But the most important thing is whatever kind of journey you have to use, the case scenario will warrant it. Okay? I'm saying the requirement, you're being asked to do, will warrant the kind of join. Remember when we said, if for instance we have staff list and then we have attendance, and then we now say bring out the name of everybody whose name is in and the attendance list. Do you get like don't like just from the staff list, just give us the name of everybody who has an attendance. If they don't have an attendance, we don't want to see them. In that scenario already suggests that you are looking for what is common between staff list and attendance, and that's the only thing you want to bring out. Okay, so nobody is going to tell you whether it's left. Your manager does not know left join, does not know right join. He will not be telling you whether it's left join or right join. He will just tell you what he wants you to do. You will have to be the one to think and say which one will better bring the best result. And that's the reason we are explaining every matching rows, common rows from left, and then all rows from left, common rows from right, all rows from right, common rows from left. That's why we are explaining all of these things. Okay. So a lot of this is based on your project requirement. I'm going to dare you guys to step out. Sincerely, I'm going to dare you guys to step out. Do things. If you don't feel like you want to be a data analyst, or you feel like you don't want to, you can't leave your job to go and start looking for a new job out there, or maybe volunteering, or any of these things that we've talked about. Because volunteering is difficult when you have bills. It wasn't easy for me when I made the decision to. In fact, I started having one or two clashes with people who felt like it was a bad idea to go and volunteer, because if your companies will use you, company will do this, company will do that. But that's exactly what I wanted to do, and thank God it turned out well. If it didn't turn out well, I'll still have been responsible for that. So you might not be able to volunteer, but even in your company where you're working, tell them to that you want to maybe volunteer some extra hours or some extra things to join the IT team to see if you can grow. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like within your company, you can maybe meet with the IT guys and say, please, can you be carrying me along or something? Volunteer, try to help them and all of that. Tell them I just learned this and I need to put them into use within your this thing, within your organization. If you don't get that within your organization, you would get it. Even go to your church, you get the same thing. If your church does not collect data, tell your pastor that you want to start collecting data from your church. You want to start collecting survey. You want to start doing this because you're a data analyst and you want to see how you can use information gathered to help that you want to see information gathered and see how you can use it to help decision making and all of that. Find opportunities, create your opportunities for yourself where opportunities don't exist. And by the day you go looking for a job, tell them that you've been working as a data analyst in your church. Please, can you post your LinkedIn? Okay, let me share my LinkedIn profile here. Okay, do we have any question while I'm doing this?
Um, Mr. Regarding what I discussed with you earlier in this class, so I don't know whether you just look through my
I said we should take it up on WhatsApp
share
now.
on WhatsApp. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll
Thank you.
talk about it on WhatsApp and schedule a time. I'll
All right,
just
thank you.
it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. If we have any other questions, we are open to taking that now. But guys, let me send this link again. Please kindly drop us your review on Google. Please, if you're not following our social media page, please do. If you're not following us on YouTube, please do. That's our LinkedIn page. If, for instance, you are writing, maybe you want to demonstrate, you know how you do on LinkedIn now? You want to demonstrate what you've learned in class, blah, 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 and you want to tag the company. That's our company link there, also on LinkedIn. It's Educator NG on LinkedIn. So thank you guys for everything you do. Tomorrow is almost our last day.